This morning's Breakfast Bible Bites, we will continue with Psalm 52, and this time with verses 2 and 3. Verse 2 begins, "Your tongue devises destruction like a sharp razor, O worker of deceit." If David is speaking about Doeg, he may have in mind a familiar acquaintance which could easily sneak up behind or assault the victim under the pretense of giving the unsuspected companion a shave and deceitfully slice open his throat. That is how destructive the mischievous tongue is. Effectually, Doeg's deceit destroyed a band of innocent priests by his own ingratiating appetite. Whetted by malice and guided by a skilled warrior's technique, he did his cruel work with accursed diligence. In the prophetic realm, the Antichrist is known for his boasting and his diabolic malice. God will tolerate the man of sin for a short period of time while he works out the Lord's purpose for separating a faithful few. For 7 years, the Antichrist's tongue will devise mischief. We read about him in 2 Thessalonians 2, 3 through 12. For that day will not come until there is a great rebellion against God, and the man of lawlessness is revealed. The one who brings destruction, he will exalt himself and defy everything that people call God and every object of worship. He will even sit in the temple of God, claiming that he himself is God. Don't you remember that I told you about all of this when I was with you, Jesus said? And you know what is holding him back, for he can be revealed only when his time comes. For this lawlessness is already at work secretly, and it will remain secret until the one who is holding it back steps away. Then the man of lawlessness will be revealed, but the Lord Jesus will kill him with the breath of his mouth and destroy him by the splendor of his coming. The man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. He will use every kind of evil deception to fool those on their way to destruction because they refuse to love and accept the truth that would save them. So God will cause them to be greatly deceived, and they will believe these lies. Then they will be condemned for enjoying evil rather than believing truth. David wrote about the tongue of deceit back in Psalm 5:9. It reads, "There is nothing reliable in what they say. Their inward part is destruction itself. Their throat is an open grave. They flatter with their tongue." We who are New Testament Christians should also remember Paul's words in Romans 3:13, who also was familiar with the sting of the tongue, slander used against him by the Jewish zealots, who based their vitriol on Paul's taking the gospel to the Gentiles. In Romans 3:13, Paul quoted this portion of the psalm. "Their talk is foul like stench from an open grave. Their speech is filled with lies. Their poison of a deadly snake drips from their lips." Psalm 52:3 reads, "You love evil more than good, falsehood more than speaking what is right." And then he uses that Hebrew musical term for pause, Selah. Doeg is long gone, but the spirit that inspired him is alive and well in our own backyard. David accused Doeg of loving evil more than good, falsehood more than speaking what is right. We have all heard the aphorism that some would rather tell a lie, even when the truth would be much easier. In fact, I believe that we have just witnessed that in our current political environment concerning the tragedy at Benghazi, where the administration tried to deflect responsibility for a grievous blunder rather than simply telling the truth and apologizing for the error. And now the psalmist uses the Hebrew word for the musical pause, Selah, indicating that we should stop, reflect, and meditate on what he was inspired to write. Is there a prophetic message here also? I believe so. Doeg acted out the role of the coming Antichrist. The spirit of Antichristo will be inspired by Satan himself, and as Jesus told us through his dialogue with the Pharisees about this powerful fallen cherub in John 8:44. Jesus said, "He was a murderer from the beginning and has not stood in the truth, because there's no truth in him. When he tells a lie, he speaks from his own nature, because he is a liar and the father of lies.